Bloomsbury Residences, the first new launch in Media Circle. What are the plans for the One North neighbourhood? What can you expect from the development? And what are the potential prices on launch day? Let's dive in. The development is located in the One North planning subzone, which is a neighbourhood within the broader Queenstown planning area. The One North neighbourhood stretches from Commonwealth Avenue in the north to the AYE Portsdown Avenue junction to the south. Within the neighbourhood, there are two MRT stations servicing the area, Buona Vista and One North Station, with Buona Vista being an interchange station between the east-west as well as the Circle Line. Kentridge Station, although out of the One North vicinity, is also located nearby. So the neighbourhood is dominated by land plots in blue. This represents commercial areas and business parks. Currently, existing tenants include companies in the media, infotech and biomedical industries. There are two main residential clusters in the neighbourhood, one in the north and another cluster in the south, where Bloomsbury Residences will be the first to be launched. Another residential cluster known as Wessex Estate is also zoned for residential use. However, it is still subject to detailed planning, which means that it could take a while before we see any future developments within that area. There are also a number of schools within the neighbourhood, from preschools to Fairfield Methodist Primary, Anglo-Chinese Junior College, international schools such as Tanglin Trust, as well as famous business schools such as INSEAD and Essex. Most of the future planning for commercial units will be housed in the south of the neighbourhood. But over the years, current clusters have been developed into industry hubs such as with Biopolis as well as Fusionopolis. Big companies such as Grab, Razer, Seagate, and MediaCorp have also planted their headquarters within the One North area. If you have enjoyed this video so far, please help to like and subscribe so that I know to produce more content like this. Now back to the video. So what does the future look like for the One North neighbourhood? The One North master plan was designed by Zaha Hadid Architects, who also designed Marina Bay Sands. The idea is to have industry clusters within the different parts of the neighbourhood. This has partly been actualized by Biopolis and Fusionopolis, as well as the Vista area. Moving forward, the south of the neighbourhood will consist of three clusters: Launchpad, which will involve startups and incubators; Ayer Rajah for emerging industries; and Mediapolis for Infocom technology. Together, the different clusters will wrap around One North Park in yellow, which will be the nature corridor connecting the key developments. Speaking to friends and family, one common objection that I hear is about the distance it takes to get from Bloomsbury Residences to the nearest MRT, with the shortest being a 17 minutes walk to One North MRT station. So this is indeed a limitation, especially for buyers who want that convenience to the MRT. However, it can't be avoided because it is one of the locational attributes for the development. However, there will be self-driving bus trials within the area, which have been planned to commence in 2026. Also, shuttle buses to One North and Buona Vista MRT will also be provided if approval is given by the relevant authorities. So the government is also studying a future MRT line, which could pass by Bloomsbury Residences. However, as this will only actualize in the 2040s, it is still too far away, and I think it should not be taken into too much consideration if you are deciding to buy the unit. For drivers, you have easy access to the CBD area via AYE, and taking Portsdown Avenue in the other direction will take you towards Bukit Timah as well as PIE. So this slide gives you an estimate of how long it would take to drive to the Marina Bay Financial Centre on Wednesday at 8:30 AM, which is a peak period. So I've drawn out the comparison to Blossoms by the Park, which is one of the developments in the northern cluster. You can see that if there are jams, the difference can be quite big, likely due to the longer route that someone needs to take along North Buona Vista Road, and also because of an earlier exit on the AYE. Moving on to the development summary, the developer is Qingjian, and there will be 3 residential blocks consisting of commercial shops on the first story. You also get car parks on the first story and the basement. The land size is approximately 10,600 square meters, which translates to slightly more than 114,000 square feet. There are a total of 358 units, which is a good number. Not too small, but also not too big. When we take the land size divided by the number of units as a measure of density, you get about 318 square feet per unit. So the larger this number, the less dense the development, since each unit occupies a larger amount of the land space. So comparing this number to One Marina Gardens, for example, which has a density of 140 square feet per unit, you can see that Bloomsbury will be a lot less dense, which will suit better for homeowners. ADDP Architects as well as Index Design are also household names in the industry. Why is the development called Bloomsbury? Certain stacks in the development will overlook Wessex Estate, which contains many black and white colonial-era houses. The developer wanted to retain elements of the past, which is why the development is designed with an English theme in mind. You can expect your common area as well as the architectural facade to mirror this same look and feel, but with a modern twist to it, giving it a sense of timeless charm. Shop fronts on level 1 will also mirror architectural themes in the UK, which is a certain mix of Victorian elegance and contemporary chic. Broadly, the stacks are separated into 3 clusters. Units facing southwest will get a greenery view, with higher floor units perhaps also able to see the southern coastline. However, given the land plots that have already been zoned in the front, this view will likely only be for the short term. Next, units facing the northeast will get a greenery view into Wessex Estate. This will likely be a longer-term view, given that the area is still subject to further planning. Lastly, Stacks 9 and Stacks 12 will get an eastern greenery view into the Alexandria area as well as the southern ridges. Moving on to unit mix, unit types start from 2-bed 1-bath until the 4-bed plus study units. There are also 8 penthouses, 2 4-bed plus study, 4 5-bedrooms and 2 6-bedroom units. Comparing the unit types to developments within the One North area, only Bloomsbury has a 2-bed 1-bath configuration, which makes it attractive. The larger 4 plus study unit type is also one to look out for, given that only One North Eden and 6 units at Rochester Residences have this configuration. But when we look at the entire of One North as a whole, there is only a total of 1,711 units. This is something also worth considering, as the relative supply within the area is low. Now on the site plan, the common facilities will start on level 2, which gives you as a resident a separation from the commercial units on level 1. What I like is that the development ticks all the major facilities, including a 50 meters lap pool, a gym, tennis court, as well as kids area. Units for each block will start on level 3, which means that there are no ground floor units in the development. There are a total of 3 blocks, each with a different total story. Block 63 will be 14 stories high, while Block 65 has 21 stories and Block 61 has 23 stories in total. Your 2-bed 1-bath unit will be located on Stacks 3 and 14. 2-bed 2-baths will be in Stacks 2, 4, 13 and 15. So Stack 4 as well as 13 are corner 2-bedroom units, which means that they will have windows in both toilets. This makes them more scarce compared to most 2-bed 2-bath units which are built in the center of the development. Your 3 bedrooms are in Stacks 5, 10, 11 and 12. All of them are corner units, with 3 out of the 4 located on Block 63. If you're looking to purchase for views, Stacks 11 and 12 will give you the better views since Stack 5's view is blocked and Stack 10 is slightly blocked as well. Lastly, your 4 bedrooms are in Stacks 8, 9, 17 and 20, all of which are either having the view towards the Wessex area or the eastern view. For the penthouses, as there are only 8 units, I won't be covering them for this video, but please reach out to me if you like more information. Level 1 will be where your commercial shops are located, together with the arrival lobby, bicycle parking, as well as a children's playground. You also have a side gate along Portsdown Road. One thing to point out here is that both residents and commercial visitors are going to use the same entrance and exit, which might be a problem, just like Woodleigh Residences when it first TOP'd. However, as the development is less dense and the shops are also not as much, the volume of traffic might be lower. Next on level 2 is where most of your facilities are located. You have your 50 meters lap pool together with 2 other family pools, a tennis court, your gym, your clubhouse as well as barbecue pits and dining pavilions. So the next couple of slides give you an indication of how the facilities deck will look like once it is completed. I like that the majority of facilities are along one level, which allows you to feel the space of the development. The elevation compared to having the common facilities on the ground floor also makes a difference, giving you some privacy from the road and allowing you to see into the greenery view. On the top of blocks 61 and 65, you also have a roof garden, where you can have outdoor barbecue and lounge spaces. Let's talk a bit about a couple of the layouts. The first being the 2-bed layout, since it is scarce within the One North neighbourhood. The first thing to point out is that it's 570 square feet in size. This might be surprising for some viewers, especially if you have not seen post-harmonized projects. However, it is normal and expected. For example, in Lentor Mansion, they had a 527 square feet 2-bed 1-bath unit, which has completely been sold out. You get a dumbbell-shaped layout, which maximizes efficiency as there are no wasted corridor spaces. The kitchen area is also squarish, and the corridor by the entrance is short, meaning that there's little wasted space as well. There are 2 entrances to the master bath, which means that guests do not have to enter your master to use the bathroom. The master can also easily fit a king-size bed. The walls along the living are also a different shape, indicating that they could be hackable, which means that you could expand the living space if you do not need the second bedroom. The aircon ledge is also located in the common bedroom instead of the master. Both of the 2-bed 1-bath stacks will face southwest, so expect some afternoon sun to come in during the months of March to September. Moving on to a larger unit, I've decided to look at the 4+ study layout. You have a private lift which opens into a private lift lobby, instead of directly into your living and dining area. This gives you added privacy. A separation between the dry and wet kitchen with the home shelter at the yard area is also ideal. The study is a flexi room, and the color of the wall here indicates that it could be hackable as well, which means that you can similarly extend the living. All the common bedrooms can fit a queen-size bed, with the master able to fit a king complete with 2 side tables. You also even have space for a dresser as well as a walk-in closet. Given that this layout is a corner unit, you also have windows along all the bathrooms. Both stacks are facing northeast, which means that you have unblocked views into Wessex Estate. Across all layouts, I would rank this unit as the best unit type. So if you like a copy of all the layouts or even the brochure for the development, comment layout below and I'll send them to you. Let's now look at the average transacted per square foot prices in the neighbourhood as well as the current land bids. The newest development in the northern cluster is transacting between $2,400 to $2,500 per square foot. So after accounting for the 5% reduction in per square foot prices for Bloomsbury Residences due to the effects of harmonization, starting from prices will be from $2,280 per square foot. In the Mediopolis area, there are 4 residential land plots, with one being released as a 60 years leased service apartment. If we subtract this out, there will be 2 more land parcels. Parcel A, which has also been won by Qingjian at a lower land price, as well as Parcel B, which will be closed for bidding on 29th of April. If Qingjian were also to win Parcel B, this will allow them to control prices fully in the Mediopolis area, which will give them more incentive to slowly raise prices instead of having to compete with other developers. I think that the 2 clusters within the One North neighbourhood have very different value propositions. For buyers looking to purchase for rent, the northern cluster has a stronger value proposition due to the proximity to the MRT stations, as well as already established commercial units around Rochester and Star Vista. For own-stay buyers, they largely would also prefer this convenience. However, there will be a group of buyers, especially those who drive, who would prefer the privacy, views, as well as the larger land plot and facility at Bloomsbury Residences compared to the developments in the northern cluster, which are smaller developments and are apartment status. Another perspective is also to look at the total price of the unit. Compared to the latest development in the northern cluster, the 2 and the 3 bedders are generally cheaper even for units in Bloomsbury Residences, which will be sold at $2,700 per square foot. The 4-bedroom, however, will only be the same price for units hovering around the $2,500 per square foot mark before adjusting for harmonization, with the premium being for views around Bloomsbury Residences. What you will see for launch prices across the different unit types on launch day is that it will likely follow a normal distribution or bell curve. 3-bedders as well as smaller 4-bedders tend to have the highest per square foot prices in today's market compared to other unit types. Next, on the average per floor price jump, I've assumed a 0.7% price jump for levels below 14, and levels above that will have a 1% price jump due to the clearance from Block 63. So with all of this information, here is my estimated price matrix on launch day. The prices in bold are starting from prices that have been given by the developer. This means that the 2-bed 1-bath and the 3-bed compact unit will start from about $2,396 per square foot, while the 1,173 square feet 4-bedroom unit will start from $2,443 per square foot. For the remaining unit sizes, I have assumed that starting from prices are from approximately $2,420 per square foot. In terms of price differences for views, currently all the stacks have unblocked views. But if there's any consolation, perhaps the southern view could be cheaper since there are already future developments planned in the area. With the estimated per floor jump from the previous slide, expect higher floor prices to hit at least $2,800 per square foot. So in summary, Bloomsbury Residences is more of an own stay compared to a rental play. More tenants and even some buyers would prefer the northern cluster within the One North neighbourhood due to its ease and convenience to MRT stations as well as commercial units. This makes the Mediopolis cluster a second choice for potential tenants, and the exit strategy is less convincing. But Bloomsbury Residences still offer an option for buyers who prefer privacy, views, as well as perhaps drive, since it is away from the hustle and bustle of the Buona Vista area. These attributes are also harder to find, especially when you're not in the outskirts of Singapore. Shops on level 1 in the future will also give you some lifestyle options. The development's design is also promising, but the developer and builder will also have to execute well in order to bring the product to life. Being the first harmonized project in the area also gives buyers more affordable options, especially for the small unit sizes. But prices will still have to be competitive given that buyers outside of the core central region tend to value convenience over views and privacy. So if you're thinking of balloting for Bloomsbury Residences, drop me a DM or give me a call. If you found this video useful, please help me to drop a like and subscribe so that I know to do more content like this. See you in the next one.